Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. Just wait a minute or so while we get people logging in. Okay, so we'll make a start. My name is Saeed Junaid. I'm a consultant MSK radiologist and one of the founders of Radiology Seminars. Today we'll be talking about an update on our MSK fellowship, which has been really, really popular, and the MSK community, and more so on the community and what we've been doing and kind of developments on it. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen while we do that. So, so I've been a consultant for 5 years, and following my own fellowship at the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital in Stanmore, when I became a new MSK consultant, naturally you're on your own, and you have colleagues, and especially in my own department, I had colleagues who had gone off sick, more senior colleagues, and I needed support. And I was very fortunate that at the time I had Dr. Asif Saifuddin as a mentor, who sadly has passed away last year. Um, and he was very, very helpful, even as a post consultant, because I could just get in touch with him and learn from him. And any difficult cases I was stuck on, I'd show it to him and say, Dr. Saifuddin, what do you think is this? And that was really helpful for me. In fact, when you're a new consultant slash senior trainee, it's actually a time where you make the most errors, and that's in fact, from a litigation point of view, it's a time where a lot of the litigation happens. And so myself and a few other of our new consultants almost had a little mini community on WhatsApp, and we had Dr. Saifuddin as well with us, helping us, and then we would share cases, and he would really sort of help, even had a difficult case, or from a management point of view, clinical management point of view, non-clinical related things like such as leadership management within the department, even just advice from somebody who's just been there and done that. So that was really, really helpful. And I found it's one of, if had I not had that level of support, I may not have performed the same level of my duties as without that support. Since then, we had a lot of we decided, actually, this community really needs to be expanded, and then have a lot more individuals chipping in, as well as being able to provide that level of support to other radiologists. And in fact, I found that was a common problem, especially lots of radiologists who either work entirely independently. We've got radiologists who are pretty much very much on their own, depending on which part of the world. So we've who are either working either in private practice completely or doing it pretty much mainly teleradiology, and so they felt isolated. And we've got radiologists, we've had radiologists who really wanted support because their own department didn't have the level of expertise to ask questions and not be judged about things. And effectively, that desire led to the formation of a more formal online community with radiology seminars, and it's spearheaded by and sort of by Dr. Ram Rajasingham from Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital. He's a MSK radiologist and a protege of Dr. Asif Saifuddin. And so together we sort of have developed the community, and so far we've got more than 50 members who are active on the community. And so one of the things that we get on the community is effectively the ability to ask help whenever you need it. So you can the community itself has a mobile phone app, and you're stuck, and here's a kind of phone a friend. Literally, you can WhatsApp people. So the community has a WhatsApp group as well as a formal app within the environment where you can share cases securely. And if you're stuck, people take a video of the scan, or a recording of the scan, or an image of the scan, or share a DICOM. Lots of ways of sharing securely. And then you have individuals within the group, within the community, will have a look at actually, it's this or that, or ignore, follow this up, or any other advice that people have. People also share really interesting cases throughout. And in fact, we've got members all over the world now, from Europe, US, Australia, and you see the cases that they bring to the table. You have people sharing cases because it's something interesting they've seen, and then you might find it really, really interesting because you might not necessarily see it in your own practice. And you'll have people giving their own input. Actually, I think we quite like to do it this way or that way, and even if you are not directly contributing to that case, the learning that comes from that is fantastic, and so that's one of the other things. Not only do you get support from that, in fact, we've got a different levels of support, in the sense that if somebody wants a really urgent help for a case, they will put in a specific tag, ASAP, please tell me what's going on. What do I do next? And a group of us will jump in and try to help out. And so that's one of the few things that's really, really kind of the center of that. And the good thing is, the number one rule in the community is there is no silly question. There is no, it's a safe space where you can ask what you like, you can give your opinion of what you think is going on, and you learn from it. And there is no finger pointing, or because sometimes you might feel a little bit embarrassed around people who who you work with, to ask questions or share things. But here, it's an entirely safe space, closed environment where things stay within that group, and it effectively makes it very, very conducive to learning. So, for example, this is Imran Laskar's profile. Send me some screen grabs. I don't have 17,000 unread emails. I'm a bit better than that. I've got about 10,000. And so what you do is you have your you download the app, and then you edit your profile. You have your own profile on there. You can add as much as little as you like. You can have your own little avatar and things. And then the more you contribute, and the more you also get scores and things for it as well. So you can be kind of a leading contributor within the community. And our plan is to actually get the community to physically meet as well in the future, when depending on location of people, just to get on a more social point of view as well. Here's an example of how the community works. I think vast majority of the people, in fact, everyone really, uses it mainly on their mobile phone, which makes it more accessible. It makes the fact they use it. And so here's an example of a very typical case discussion. Someone's shared a case, then people are giving their advice of what they think is going on. We've got professors on there. We've got people who really, really know their stuff. Will give you advice on where next, and how they would manage a specific case, or what to do next. And that's really, really helpful. Sometimes you know what the answer is. You just want somebody else to say, yeah, you're doing the right thing. The fact that there's so many times where I know what the answer was. I just you want to ask, just so then you're not the only one thinking of that thought process. Yeah, I agree with you. It is what it is. It's what you think it is. That's fine. You don't be scared of giving that diagnosis or that suggestion. So that's one of those things where suddenly you've saved yourself time, rather than before you verify the report, I don't know what it is, and now you just have that level of confidence, and then that's really, really helpful from this community point of view. One of the fantastic things, most of you may have heard of the fellowships that Radiology Seminars has been running prior to the setting up of the community. Dr. Asif Saifuddin and Dr. Ram have set up. We set up the Stanmore Spine Fellowship, which is an intense 4 months fellowship online, where which is very, very comprehensive, covers aspects from degeneration through to tumor, infection, congenital, and each week is very there's certain objectives for the week, and as you go through it, it's a very structured program. And by the end of it, if you follow the process, you will be pretty good and have solid foundations of that subject. So we've got that in spine. And we also have that in the knee. Now, prior to this setting up of this of the community, they were separate things. You purchase them separately, and then you have the fellowship with the Stanmore radiologists, and they work with you. Now, what we've done is incorporated that within the community, so you get best of both worlds. Not only do you work your way through the community, the fellowship, and you have the live sessions of the fellowship, but also you have the support that comes with the community. So if you're stuck, you ask questions, you learn from your peers, and effectively in themselves, the fellowships themselves uh, are £1,500 on their own each over a span of 3 to 4 months. But now they are actually part of the community portal, so you can do the whole fellowships, and there will be new ones added in the future, which are also part of this. So there's tons of educational material and CPD in the app as well as the portal. And so the cases are fantastic as well. So you learn really, really good cases, rare ones, common ones, and just kind of also constantly reminding yourselves of these things. There is also live teaching, every weekly live teaching. So people will select a topic and go through them. If you can't make it, it's also recorded, so you can go through the recording as well. What I'm going to do now is I've got Ram on the line as well. He is one of the sort of directors of from the education point of view of the MSK community, and so I'm going to hand over to Ram to give you a bit more about how he manages the community and sort of is involved. Ram's fantastic. He is also the clinical director at the Royal National Orthopaedic Hospital. We're very, very fortunate to have him, and he's really, him and Dr. Asif Seferdine have really laid the foundations, and it's really, to be honest, there is no real online fellowship in the world. Personally, we've been in this sort of sector for some years. You've got these sort of pseudo fellowships that exist. You might need a 2-day online fellowship, but that's not really a fellowship. There's so much you can learn in 2 days. But Ram's been really, really involved in that. I mean, he's heavily involved in research, massive publications on PubMed on the topics of MSK. And so I'm going to hand over to Ram. You want to hear more from him. So let me just have a look. Ram, I'm going to hand over you the mic and so have you been promoted to panelist? You can unmute yourself and you can take over.
Hi everyone. Hi Said. I assume you can hear me. Yeah, great. Okay, yeah. So it's just I'm Ram for everyone that just wants to know who I am. Apologies, I don't have a webcam, so you can't see me. But yeah, it's just to reiterate everything that Saeed has said, and also what Imran has said on previous talks regarding this. It's just a very informal. It's not app essentially, which has lots of people over 50, varying from consultants and senior registrars, all interested in MSK radiology. They all have a very varied and different set of experiences. So some of them have had formal training in MSK radiology in their registrar years and now are consultant MSK radiologists. A lot of people haven't had much formal training at all. They're actually just general radiologists at their normal district general hospital, and they want to learn more MSK radiology. So you can see, as Saidi said, it's sort of a very informal way of just a vast variety of people of different experiences just posting whatever they want, essentially. So you can have cases which are very simple, and you just want to ask a very straightforward question, or you can, essentially, some people just write their report and say, is this okay? Is there anything I'm missing here? And that's fine. Or you can have sort of, very complex cases, to the weird and wonderful cases where I have no idea what this is. What do you think, Ram? Then I'll, or a few other people will just log in and we'll just post what we think. So I think the key here is that it's very, very informal. You can post as much or as little as you want, and then every now and again, every few days or every week, I will also post an interesting case that I've seen, and I'll just very informally, to take a quick photo or video, post it, and ask everyone, what do you think of this? And then people post their cases. So I think in the current age where everyone is extremely busy, right? I think that's what the issue is, that everyone is extremely busy. Not many people who are consultants in particular have time to just sit and read textbooks and papers after papers, and they don't have this formal set time to learn, especially with life as busy as it can get. It's a very nice, quick way just to show cases and to do a lot of informal learning on the spot. So, regarding cases, as you can see already, we haven't been up and running for that long, but there's just loads and loads of cases already, and each case there's something for everyone, right? So there's something that even for me, I thought it could be this, but someone else has posted it could be that, and then there'll be a little back and forth discussion. Or it could be, I would describe something a certain way, but someone else would describe it a different way. So again, a lot of the answers aren't really right or wrong. It's just another way of seeing the case, and it's just even good for me to actually see how other people report or view certain cases. So that for me is the main strength of this, is that there's a large variety of people already on the app posting all sorts of cases, from the weird and wonderful, where I normally see those cases every day at RNOH, to complex trauma cases, which I don't see much of, but we have very good trauma level MSK radiologists who will post and comment on those cases itself. So I think it's a very good app, which between me and a few other consultants, we can cover the vast majority of the weird and wonderful pathologies that people can see. So from that point of view, I think it's a huge amount of value that everyone gets. You essentially have unlimited access, and you can post as much or as little as you want, in a very select forum. Worst case scenario, you can take a few pictures or a video clip, and within a very short space of time, I normally log in 4, 5, 6 times a day to actually give an answer. So you can get, in vast majority of cases, very quick answers, straight away. And I think the main group of people who this is useful for is for people who are somewhat isolated, especially abroad. So I know that MSK radiology is not sort of like a specialist subspecialty in a lot of European countries, especially in Asia, and people don't have formal experience in that, but yet they're expected to report these cases. So again, in that type of environment, it's very good for people just to post a case, and then I or someone else could just very quickly say, yeah, I think this is what needs to happen. This is what we do at RNOH, for example.
Very good. And in fact, the good thing is you can search anything. So it's not like, well, I
Yeah,
can't remember. So if you just typed in something, it'll search the text, it'll search the cases, it'll search the comments, and anywhere that's mentioned, it'll pull it up for you. And that's kind of good thing. So you don't have to worry about, oh, and you can bookmark your own. You can create your own list of bookmarks you want to read later on. Um, and that's where the real value is being able to access this. And the good thing is, most people use the phone, and the app is so friendly. People just kind of almost like WhatsApp, and you kind of comment, and people quite like. In fact, as Ram was saying, sometimes people just want to have a different opinion on something, even though they know the answer. They just want, how would you guys approach it? And it's just seeing how different people do things opens up the way. I mean, and the learning on the fly is really, really. I find that's one of the best things for me as well.
Yeah, completely agree. So, and I think the main thing of why it's so good to have as an app is because of how user friendly it is. It's exactly like WhatsApp. It's so easy to post cases, so easy to write comments, so easy to tag people of what you think of this. It's almost instant access learning, and I don't think there's anything out there that I've come across online or on a phone where you can have this direct access that quickly with
Yeah.
instant feedback, and that for me is the main thing, to be honest.
We've got a question, Ram. So we got a question from Iman Bega.
Yeah, go ahead.
We're going to unmute her because she's raised her hand. So how do we do this? One sec. Okay, you're unmuted. Go for it. Iman, you're unmuted. So you had a question. Do you want to say it?
I don't know if you can hear me.
Can hear you.
Yes, we can. Yep.
Yeah, you hear me. Hello, everyone. I'm very happy to probably be part of this group. I just have not that much musculoskeletal cases in my daily work. But the problem, I have very difficult one, like the feet and the ankles and small parts.
Yep.
And I find it very difficult to calibrate because I do them most of the time, but I think I don't have enough cases to see and to share. And I wonder if it is for me, this forum can help me get better.
Yeah, so I'm happy to answer that. Yeah, so what you've described, your exact situation, I would say applies to probably at over half of the people, maybe even three-quarters of the people on the app. They are in exactly similar situation. They have some MSK experience, but not like a dedicated fellowship. They don't work in a trauma center, and they don't have other MSK radiologists around them. So what your situation is not new. I would say it's actually the norm, and people just post cases, So and you could just say, I think this is, it's an ankle case. I think this is, I don't know, osteoarthritis of the ankle joint, but I'm not sure. I don't know if there's an osteochondral defect. What do you think? Then you just take a video of the case, ideally, and you post it. And then me, Saeed, or whoever will just write, yeah, I think I agree. I also think, I don't know, there's a displaced osteochondral defect here, and and it's a very, like you said, it's a very informal way of you and us learning on the fly, on the spot. So yeah, so and in terms of what you post, you can post whatever you want. So if it's small joints that you have issues with and you're not sure about certain things, so there's nothing stopping you from taking a small little clip or a video or uploading the scan onto the app itself. And I, for example, will just log on a few times a day and just have a look, and I'll tell you what I think. So
Okay.
what you've said is nothing, out of the ordinary. I would say, if Said agrees, that actually applies to the vast majority of the people on the app. So again, no question is too small or too big or too stupid. You can essentially ask whatever you want, because I can almost guarantee you there'll be someone else with even less experience than you who would have thought the exact same thing. So again, it's a very non-judgmental forum. You can post as much or as little as you like, as complex or as simple of a case as you like. I hope that
Okay.
answers the question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Does anybody else have any questions for Ram and myself? Let me see if I've got the chat function open or somebody wants to type something. Okay, we've got somebody else. So what I'm going to do is allow you to talk, Rizia. So you're
Good
Hi.
evening.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Lucrezia. I'm Italian. My question is, as soon as we apply for this fellowship, how many hours you expect of on study?
That's a
Yeah,
good.
so I can answer that. So
Yeah.
these fellowships are essentially online fellowships, right? So there's a spine fellowship, which is essentially 4 months worth of material. Then there's also a knee fellowship, which I believe is 3 months worth of material. But the issue I found when people were doing it separately, and and there was a set time, it's still a lot of material to cover, right? So you've got work, you've got family, you've got things to do, and to have a
Yeah.
set 4 month period to just do the course and that's it is very difficult, right? So it's impossible because you ideally you want to do it in your own time. If it takes you 1 year or 2 years, so be it. And I would advise that the vast majority of people who have done the fellowships, they find that it's actually very difficult to do it week in week out for 4 months. And so it's entirely up to you. That's the beauty of having it inbuilt into the app. You can go as fast or as slow as you want. Every month, I will do a live session where I will say, I'm going to cover, the first 4 weeks worth of cases, and I'll highlight the most important cases, which I'll discuss. But there is no pressure at all for you to keep, up to date with that. It's entirely up to you. You could do all of it in 1 month. You could do all of it in, 2 years. It's entirely up to you. And the advantage of it having, being built into the app means that, you can go at your own speed. So, some people, for example, will want to join the app only for the fellowships, which is perfectly fine. So they'll do everything as fast as possible, go through all the lectures or go through all the cases, and once they're finished with that, that's fine. They've got what they wanted. So others, for example, want to take the time with it, and they also want to use the app for exactly what it is, and then they'll ask questions and here and there, and then every month I will do a live session. So for me, for example, next Wednesday or next Thursday, I believe, I'll be doing a live session on the last set of cases for the spine fellowship. And again, it's for everyone. So even people who haven't even looked at any of the cases, right? They're more than welcome, because they have access to the app, to just join me on a live session, and I'll just go through some cases for discussion. So there's no hard and fast rule. So even though it says 16 weeks, it's most people will find it very difficult to do that week in, week out for 16 weeks. It's just a rough timeline for the purpose of it being advertised as a fellowship. But you're allowed to take as long as you need, essentially.
Okay, is there a time limit, or we have access without any limits?
So as long as you are in fact, as long as you're in the community, so once you're in the community app and the community portal, you'll have access to all the stuff. Just like, for example, I'm sharing on the screen right now the Spine Fellowship, and it gives you all the things, the core lectures, the DICOM access. So you have a PACS system that you'll have access to, the reports, the videos on each case, and then the live QA. But also, if you're in the app, if you're on the community, there's a sixth thing you can add on this. Is actually day-to-day access to when you're stuck. And then within the actual fellowship component of it, you've got, I'm just showing you, as Ram said, you've got 16 intense weeks worth of material, but you might spread it out over 32 weeks, up to you how you want to do it. And that's just the spine. Then we've got the knee as well, which again has a lot of material covering, again, different aspects of it. So while you're a member in the community, you have access to all of these as well. And so, as Ram said, some people only join for the fellowship. They do it and then they leave. Other people, but we find that the support you get with the fellowship, the support you get being part of the community, means that not only are you working your way through, you have other things you want to bring to the and the learning, extra learning you get. What we found, people who are in the community are quite serious about the MSK. They want to get better, right? And they want to help each other out. And we've got a massive spectrum of abilities. We've got those who are expected to report MSK, but they've done very little MSK experience because that's how their hospital works. to those who just want to have interesting cases exposed to them. I think someone's got a question as well. Let me just click on Q&A.
So yeah, so just to sort of summarize the answers, essentially you have access for as long as you have the app, essentially. But you'll find what I found very interesting, that most people weren't really interested in sort of doing the fellowships week in, week out, the day after day. They were more interested in the actual posting the cases, reading all the comments. That is my experience, what actual most people found actually more useful, in fact, than the online fellowships is the cases that people post every day, and how we approach them.
So the access is unlimited, as far as I understood.
Yes, right. As far as long as you have the app, you have access to everything on it, on the app, which includes these online courses.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're on mute side.
Yeah, so I can see 3 questions on Q&A, but I can't can't find that pop-up of where the questions are. One sec. Oh, here we go. So as I said, so it is someone to ask a question, is it suitable for a general radiologist? Yes, it is. And because that's the whole point, a lot of people are of general radiology, but within MSK interest. So what are the fees for this? So it's a monthly subscription. So as long as you are subscribed, you have access to everything. It's £250 a month, which gives you access to everything on there. But the most valuable thing is direct access to experts in the field. That's such a kind of invaluable thing that you can get, where you post something and you can even ask, Ram, what do you think this is going on, or just put a general, if you don't want any specific individual answering, or so and so. And people with their expertise will say, actually, this is how we deal with it, and that's something that's kind of invaluable. So often, getting somebody to help you with a case is very, very difficult. In fact, we've got a section especially to help teleradiologists, because we've got a lot of people who do teleradiology in MSK, and teleradiology is a very, very lonely place, because you are reporting for a hospital that you don't work at. You don't know their protocols, and so reporting for teleradiology is slightly more challenging, and having a community support really, really helps for that. We've got some people who are who are on there. There's a question: is a certification at the end of the complete? So yes, if you've done all the material for the fellowships, then you'll get a certificate for doing it. So once you've done it, your system will record that you've done it. You then let us know, we'll verify it, and then you'll get a certificate for completing the fellowship. So the knee fellowship and the spine fellowship have their own CPD attached to them, because there's so much material on there. But yes, you'll get a certificate saying that you've done this fellowship as well. And in fact, the fellowship's been really, really popular in the past. And one of the things those fellows who'd done the system, they said they would really have appreciated something like this, a community where once they sort of let loose, so to speak, they want that level of added support, and that's exactly what this does. So some of the members are actually people who've done the fellowship in the past, and they've said, actually, we really, really love the fellowship. Now we want to be part of the community to actually develop ourselves. Okay.
There's another question just saying, is the accreditation standardized?
So the CPD, CPDs are from the CPD that we offer is from the Royal College of Radiologists CPD program, and so the RCR gives a certain guidelines when you have CPD, and so because our course meets that guidelines, we can issue those CPD. As radiologists in the UK, we've got to do set number of CPD every year to keep our accreditation valid for our appraisal and our revalidation, and so doing the fellowship adds to that. Remember, the thing is, in radiology overall, there is no specific accreditation to say, well, I've got this medal to report MRIs or spine. It's very much down to your ability to be able to report it. And so if you feel confident that I can report this MRI, then no one's going to stop you from reporting it. Now, the key thing is that often what we find people is that they're expected to report, but they can't report it. And that's a challenge. Or they see cases and they don't know how to report them, and that's this bridging that gap where people either or they want to upskill. So we've got radiologists in their department. There's a massive backlog of MSK. We have a consultant who contacted us who said, I need, my department wants me to report spines. I have never done spines before properly, just as a resident. Now I need to do them as a consultant. So she then did the fellowship, then carried on. And so doing the whole point of that now is suddenly she feels more confident and she's now reporting spines in her department. And so that's really the real value in this. The way you, having the FRCR, is there any added benefit? The FRCR gives you more knowledge, but we find that the FRCR exam itself, it's aimed at mid-level trainee. Some of the MSK training, some of the MSK work in the FRCR exam isn't as in depth. So you can comment on this, Ram. Is generally the FRCR doesn't go in as huge depth in MSK. That's one of the things.
Yeah,
My own personal experience. The MSK is a bit shallow in depth in the FRCR. People will have a lot of depth in GI, GU, gynae, and even in peds, but suddenly MSK is very, very superficial in the FRCR exam. You might just be expected to pick up a bucket handle tear or a big ACL tear. That's about it. That's the level of FRCR. And I think that's where in fact a lot of the radiologists in the group have FRCR, but they said, that was not very useful for us, and they found this fellowship so much, the community fellowship and the community. We will be adding more fellowships in the future. As you can imagine, a fellowship takes a lot of work. Now you just can imagine developing those 16 weeks worth of work. Fellowship, actually, it took 2 years to develop that. And so with the other fellowships we are developing, and with time, they will be added to the system, to the community, and so that's one of the things.
Yeah, so they've just asked, are you able to show physically how people would
Yeah, sure. So the way you apply,
to it?
of course, I'm going to share my, I don't know which bit of my screen you can see, Ram. I just realized my screen was paused all along. I've been sharing my screen. Okay. Okay. So I think it's the community. Let's click on the community. Effectively, you go on the Radiology Seminars website, and you then essentially set up. It's a monthly fellowship membership. So it's not a contract or anything like that. If you think, you know what, it's not good for me, that's fine. There's no hard feelings. You learn. That's why we're not pinning you down. They have got other people have made communities of fellowships where you are tied down for the whole length of 2 years, where you've got to pay up for the whole, divided into several. In this, the good thing we found is that we've got a really high retention rate, and that speaks in volumes in those who found useful, because there's nothing we're not pinning anyone to it. There's no contract. People sign up if they think, this is not for me, and then they'll leave. But actually, our people who leave are very, very few, very, very few. Generally, people stick around because they found value in it. People are going to people spend subscription in the UK. The standard broadband subscription is all 67 good solid 60-70 pound people's Sky and all that added together is 150 pounds on TV. So if you get an expert to sit with you, it's the value is tremendous. And so that's where, and so someone's asked a question, where the consultants from. I don't know the exact, but we've got consultants from Germany, Sweden, Netherlands, UK, I think some from US, Australia, New Zealand, Dubai, I think somebody from Saudi, India.
All over, basically.
All over.
Yeah.
All over. The mode of conversation is English. But now with Google Translate and everything, if you want to ask something in your own language, I don't think that'd be impossible. But most people will. I think everyone communicates in English on that, and the teaching will be in English as well. Let me see if there's any other questions. No more questions. Ram, are you able to see the questions? Q&A,
Yes, I can. Yeah, no, yeah. Far as I can see, I think we've gone through all of them.
Oh, excellent. Very good. Does anyone else have any questions or the nope?
No, I
Okay,
think
so
that's it.
that's really good. That's really helpful, and thank you very much, Ram, for your time as well.
Thank you.
And obviously, if there's something, if a question pops up, please drop us an email. In fact, there's a WhatsApp on our website. You just WhatsApp on there, and we will get back to you pretty quickly. And that's it really. And thank you so much. We've got quite a few people joining today. I'm surprised. So there's a lot of interest in this. Cool. But yeah, all the best and take care.
We've got one more question. They've just asked, are you able to show the, so the last question is how many people are in the community, and are you able to actually show it at all?
The thing with is when you show it, then you show people's names.
Oh yes, of
And
course.
that's
Yes.
the only thing. So I had that idea. I was going to show it, but what I can do is, because obviously people comment and they don't, and
Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, you're right.
when you join the community, it's one of the things you kind of say that it's you bear confidentiality and stuff, right? So people don't feel obliged to ask bad questions. But the way it works is, give me 1 second. Let me see if I share my screen.
Yeah, so just to answer, there's roughly about 50 people in the community, and you can actually see once you've joined, you can actually see all the members. Some people, will post everything about them. They have a LinkedIn profile. You can, reach out to them. So there's, certain professors of radiology, for example, one is a world expert in rheumatology, imaging. So I will actually reach out to him for certain cases. So you can see there's all sorts of people from world experts to sort of people who haven't got much experience
fact,
at all.
Well, if you hold the line 1 moment, what I'll do is so yeah, exactly. And one of the cool thing is it's like WhatsApp, so you can find anybody on there, and you can WhatsApp, you can message them privately. Hi, this is a really interesting thing you said, or you can just socialize. There's nothing because it's just because I'm a little bit. What I can do is I can show you the kind of things that we've got on there. Just give me 1 second. So I should have. One second. Just trying to think of what's the best way to show. But effectively, what you get is you've got entire cases that people have searched, right? And then we've got spaces. So let me just get rid of this blurry stuff. So you get community roundup, celebrate wins, urgent cases, less than one. This is kind of ways you can post your cases under 12-hour turnaround time. ICE, you need help ASAP. Protocol discussions, career advice section, research opportunities, the fellowships we've got, MSK lectures, feature requests, random. So people sometimes just post random things because they just want some, and then we've got a live catch up. So those are kind of the, and then we have a community roundup, so interesting cases for that week. So if you didn't have time to look at everything, we'll do that. Urgent, and then we've got case of the day, urgent cases. So I'll just give you an example. Somebody's asked, I'm not going to say his name, 13-year-old patient complaining of right thigh pain, has lesion located in the junction of the zone, middle third. What could this be? And then let me see. And then he's asking, how do I grade this? So one of the consultants said this is a grade 2B. That's the and this is this classification that I use. This is and then people said like it. If you like something, you can see what you've liked. Somebody's asked a question, and there's some interesting cases. This is kind of, it's almost like it's like social media, but within your own. It's a small app. What it means is that the problem we found is normal social media, LinkedIn and Facebook groups, it's free for all. You get all sorts of rubbish on there, which means that you're sifting through that is difficult, is problematic, and cases are what likes of RAM and other moderators, it makes sure that the community is structured in a good way, and there's learning that goes on. And so if somebody gives a really strange out of the box thing, people will say, well, actually, this is probably not the case, or so it helps align the opinions as well in terms of which gives you confidence when you are looking at, for example, we've got a consultant who's a specialist in a very, very unique, he does injections of the intercostal nerve. And so we had somebody put a strange case in, and he's an expert in that, and so he answered that. And so it's just that level of advice that you get on tap, which is not what you would get. And the other thing is because people on social media, they answer for different reasons, right? They're there because or self-serving reasons. The only reason people on here are there because they want to get better. That's it. And they're not interested in having a good big social media profile. Look at me, how many answers I've quite, they're there because they want to help, and they're there because they want to get better. That's simple as that. And that's where there's no judgmental issues on there. So you can get people, somebody's messaged me, hi side, I really like what you did, blah blah blah. And then you can set up your notifications, you can set how you want things. It's like an app. It's really, really nice mobile iPhone and Android app. You can also access it on the computer as well. And you can post things using a mobile phone. So I often, I'll hide the patient details, and I just people just take a picture of it, and they say, I've taken a picture of it. What is this? On the fly. And so people look at it, yeah, this is what this is, or take a video of things, or upload things. Some people like to use Paxbin, and they'll attach a Paxbin link. Others will put a CMRADs. There's also Berlin Viewer. And also one of the things we found interesting in this is that the networking is really good. So people network with each other. We've got somebody saying, I'm quite interested. Somebody's asked me, I've got a clinic, we do some interesting things in Cardiff. They've asked me, can I come and visit your clinic for this procedure you do too? So that's kind of the other advantage of networking of people who are really interested in this. And that's something that I think was also really, really valuable. We are going to be setting up some research projects within this. So if people are interested in doing a study, we can collaborate from different centers. RAM at the RNOH, they've got fantastic cases, and if there's an interesting case, we can write it up. And those are kind of the opportunities that exist within the community, which you wouldn't really normally get. So I waffled on a bit too much.
No, I think that's precisely right. I think you've gone through all the questions. I think the only way people will know is to just join the app and start posting, right? I think that's the way people will get a real feel for what exactly what we have to offer here.
Yeah, thanks so much. And as I said, if you have any questions, if you go on our website, there's a WhatsApp on there, or just drop us an email, info@radiologyseminars.co.uk, and we'll be more than happy to help you. Okay, cool. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.